after all the PPE scandal, I suppose it was only a matter of time before, well, we found out that all this leveling up money uh, went probably a very similar way into a Tory donor's back pocket. Because who do they have access to? These Tory donors. Well, they have access to the Tory MPs, which means the Tory MPs can go, well, this person's given us, a quite substantial sum. Maybe we ought to, you know, uh, scratch their back as well, and they'll scratch ours. And this is how it has come about. Now, this seems at the moment, who knows if this is maybe the first of such a story we'll be covering in potentially the coming weeks of about, oh yes, this leveling up money, which was meant to, help to level up this area, in this case, Hastings, actually instead went towards a Tory donor who, well, didn't really need the money, but, thanks. Given what we've seen, of course, of Boris Johnson's government, I think it is highly likely there could be very well be more stories like this on the way. Certainly seems like that might be the case. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe this could just be a one-off. But given the fact that it's the Tories and we've seen how this government has acted in situations like this, I doubt it. I very, very much doubt it. This will be a one-off story, but it's nevertheless good to cover because, well, stuff like this, I think, should get covered and be amplified as well. So, before we go diving into today's story, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to, pardon me, links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. There is the YouTube thank you button, and of course the Pony Club as well. So let's go diving on into this. This comes from The Guardian with the title of the £150,000 levelling up grant awarded to Tory donors amusement centre in Hastings. So a £150,000 grant from Boris Johnson's flagship Levelling Up for Towns Fund was awarded to an amusement centre launched by the Conservative donor Lubov Cherchenkin? Question mark, how you say that? Which was raising questions about whether public money has gone to projects most in need of financial help. Cherkin, a businesswoman who has given more than £2 million to the Conservatives since 2014 and is married to a former Russian finance minister and co-founder of the Owens Amusement Centre in Hastings of East Sussex. The centre has received over £150,000 from the government's Towns Fund in October after a tender process through the company called C&O Entertainment, and a further £250,000 went to developer behind the refurbishment of the former Debenhams building in the seaside town. It also includes several restaurants, a bowling alley, immersive experiences, virtual reality rides, and an oddity museum and an amusement arcade. There is no suggestion of any political consideration in the award of the grant. Cherkin launched the project back in October of 2022 as a joint venture with an entertainment entrepreneur, Graham Owen, and has since been a director pardon me, of C&O Entertainment since February of this year. It is owned by a company called 888 Holdings, held by two senior partners of a wealth management firm, and is believed to be at least in part owned by the businesswoman. Owens does not own any shares in the company, despite giving his names to the attraction. He does now believe to have left his role in the company. The spokesperson for Chinkin and Owens Entertainment was open with a vision to, quote, revive the British high street and stimulate local economies through the establishment of family-friendly orientated entertainment centres. With an estimated over 100,000 visitors since launch, they said that the centre had been providing jobs and hiring about 45 contracted staff members and a space for 4 concession holders. The spokesperson did confirm their involvement in the C&O Entertainment, but did not respond to a question about its ultimate ownership. She said Chechenkin was not involved in any way whatsoever in the grant application process, and that it was driven by the developers and Hastings Town's deal board without her knowledge. Last September, the finance manager from Owens Entertainment gave a presentation to the Hastings Town deal board, setting out that the development of the entertainment centre is going well, and it is hoped that it can be officially opened around the 14th of October. In the minutes, it was recorded that the project by this time was already close to completion, and the extra money was going to be used to extend the centre's originally planned offer, therefore allowing for more attractions to be created. The bid was not part of the original Towns Fund allocation process, but was added back in September of 2022 by the Hastings Town Deal Board after another bidder pulled out and the tender was rerun. It was subsequently approved by the Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities, and the money was paid in October of 2022. So, once again, Michael Gove probably got some splaining to do. Hastings Council said that the business case for the town deal bid by Owens was confidential, but had been, quote, independently assessed against various criteria, including jobs created, amount of public and private investment, wider economic impact in the town, and value for money and deliverability. The funding for Owens Entertainment was to try and enhance and extend the number of entertainment offers, but it was also trying to bring back into the larger use of the former Debenhams building, which had been empty for more than a year, a spokesperson said. There were no political considerations in the decision to support the project that were brought by largely potentially long-term empty building back into the use so quickly. Chris Brandt, the Labour MP and the chair of the House Commons Committee Standards Committee, has called into question whether the project was actually deserving of the money, saying that the, quote, so-called discretionary fund were a cause of concern, especially now that we know the company of the largest female donor to the Conservative Party has benefited in this way. Public funds should go to those areas most in need, he said. Chechenkin, a British citizen and, of course, a former banker who has been under scrutiny over her links to offshore wealth and her husband's former membership of Vladimir Putin's government until he was sacked in 2004, Labour has previously called for the Conservatives to hand all that money given to the party by Russian-linked donors to humanitarian causes, including more than the $2 million given by Chechenkin since 2014. On her donations, the Chechenkin spokesperson said it is correct that Lubov has donated more than £2 million to the Conservative Party, and all such donations have been properly declared in accordance with Electoral Commission rules. As a British citizen, Lubov is entitled to make donations to political parties as she sees fit, and any suggestions to the contrary would be paltry, blatantly xenophobic. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this. But yeah, it is not surprising in the least that levelling up money has gone to, well, a big Tory donor. Will this be investigated? Doubtful. Doubtful. Especially as long as as long as the Conservatives in charge, there isn't too much, to be honest, going on with the PPE investigations and the scandal all that caused. Although that is again big part of the COVID inquiry. I've said before, I think the actual scandal and all that and the VIP stuff, I think should be entirely separate of the COVID inquiry. At least you can have those two sort of inquiries running parallel. That way, it sort of frees up the COVID inquiry to do more stuff that it needs to do. Examining sort of the pandemic response, why we handle it so badly, and sort of what we can do in the future. And then, of course, you have that separate inquiry looking at sort of the PPE scandal, what happened there, what went wrong there, and I probably suspect this might be the first of many of these leveling up grants that have been awarded. It's highly possible many of them did go to Tory donors. Highly possible. I'm not saying it has, because I don't have that information to hand, but it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if that turned out to be the case. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and an notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can Buy Me Coffee. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.